A possible turning point in Santa Clara County's homeless crisis. San Jose has just opened up its first community of tiny homes.
America is quietly spending billions of dollars on something the news almost never shows you. In Los Angeles, construction crews are finally keeping a promise made to American soldiers more than 130 years ago. In Austin, Denver, and Atlanta, cranes are going up right now, and they are not building casinos or football stadiums. They are building entire neighborhoods for Americans who were sleeping in cars, in tents, and on sidewalks just months ago. One village in Texas is tripling in size. One program in California has turned old roadside motels into around 15,000 homes. Today, we are counting down the top 10 megaprojects changing homeless Americans' lives in 2026. If this topic matters to you or someone you love, a quick like helps this video reach more people, and subscribing means you never miss the next one. We start with a small village in Kansas that proves you do not need billions of dollars to change a life. Number 10. Eden Village in Kansas City. On a quiet street in Kansas City, Kansas, there is a neighborhood of 22 little houses with front porches, flower beds, and neighbors who wave at each other. Every single person living there used to be homeless. Eden Village opened in June 2024, and each home is about 400 square feet with a real kitchen, a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom. There is a resource center with laundry machines, movie nights, and weekly community dinners where everyone eats together at long tables. The people who run Eden Village follow a simple idea called housing first. Give a person a safe front door with a lock on it, and only then can they start working on their health, their paperwork, and their future. Many residents are older and living with disabilities, which makes a stable home even more important. The village worked so well that construction on Eden Village 2 begins in spring 2026, adding 30 more homes arranged around a friendly cul-de-sac with its own community center. Both villages are paid for by grants and private donations, and when you walk the gravel paths, you can see houses named after the families and churches who gave the money to build them. 22 homes may sound small next to the projects coming later in this list, but for 22 human beings, this village was the difference between a tent in winter and a warm bed. And the next project on our list started with one stranger's almost unbelievable act of generosity. Number 9. Community Forever Village in Denton, Texas. For 8 years, people in Denton, Texas tried to build a tiny home village for their homeless neighbors, and for 8 years they hit a brick wall. The city could not offer land. Taxpayer funding never came through. The idea kept dying in meeting rooms while the number of homeless people in Denton County kept climbing. Then something remarkable happened. A private landowner stepped forward and donated about 70 acres of Texas countryside, simply because he wanted his land used to help people with nowhere to go. 70 acres given away. Think about that for a moment. Most cities cannot find a single acre for their homeless neighbors. One man gave 70. A local nonprofit called the 1877 Journey took that gift and started building the Community Forever Village on the outskirts of town, a neighborhood of tiny homes with a community center at its heart. Volunteers gather at the site for barbecues and work days, and local businesses donate food, materials, and labor. What makes this project matter far beyond Denton is the lesson inside it. Government moves slowly. Budgets get cut. But one generous person with land or money or time can break through years of gridlock in a single afternoon. Villages like this one are now spreading across Texas, Missouri, Minnesota, and dozens of other states, most of them powered by donations and church groups rather than tax dollars. Ordinary people are not waiting for permission anymore. They are pouring foundations. And in Atlanta, one mayor decided that if homes take too long to build the normal way, he would build them out of something nobody expected. Number 8. The Melody in Atlanta. In downtown Atlanta, there is an apartment community that was built almost overnight, and it was built out of recycled shipping containers. It is called The Melody, and it opened with 40 studio apartments stacked and welded together on a city-owned parking lot. Each unit has a bed, a bathroom, a kitchenette, air conditioning for those brutal Georgia summers, and a front door that locks. The whole community came together in a matter of months, not years, because the containers arrive mostly finished and simply get connected on site like giant building blocks. Residents moved in directly from the streets and from encampments, and caseworkers on site helped them with medical care, identification papers, and job searches. The Melody is the first piece of the Atlanta mayor's plan to create 500 units of this kind of rapid housing across the city. Here is why this project made our list. Traditional affordable housing in a big American city can take 5 years and enormous sums of money per unit. The Melody proved a city can house 40 people in months on land it already owns, using steel boxes that were once stacked on cargo ships crossing the ocean. Cities from coast to coast have sent officials to Atlanta to walk those hallways and take notes. Speed matters because every winter night on the street is dangerous, especially for older people. And speaking of speed, the next city on our list moved faster than almost anyone believed possible. Number 7. Denver's micro-communities. When Denver's new mayor took office, he made a promise that sounded impossible. House 1,000 homeless people by the end of his first year. Cities have made promises like that before and quietly broken them. Denver actually did it. The centerpiece of the plan is a network of micro-communities, small villages of individual shelter units spread across city land, church parking lots, and unused corners of Denver. Each unit is a private, insulated room with heat, electricity, and a locking door. Each village has bathrooms, showers, laundry, and staff on site around the clock. Caseworkers help residents move from the village into permanent apartments, which frees the unit for the next person waiting. More than 1,000 people came indoors in the first year, and the program kept growing from there, clearing some of the city's largest tent encampments, not with bulldozers, but with keys. What Denver figured out is that one giant 1,000-bed shelter frightens people away. Many homeless people, especially women and seniors, avoid big shelters because they feel unsafe. But a village of 40 private rooms with a fence, a gate, and staff who know your name feels different. It feels like a neighborhood. Other cities across the Mountain West are copying the Denver playbook street by street. But there is one group of homeless Americans that almost every city has overlooked. And the next project is the first in the nation built entirely for them. Number 6. Town Twin Village in San Antonio. The fastest growing group of homeless Americans is not who you might think. It is seniors, people in their 60s and 70s, many of them living on a fixed Social Security check that stopped keeping up with rent years ago. One medical bill, one rent increase, one late paycheck, and a person who worked their whole life ends up sleeping in their car at 70 years old. San Antonio looked at that heartbreaking math and built something no American city had built before. Town Twin Village is the first housing-first community in the country designed specifically for homeless seniors. On a 17-acre campus on the east side of San Antonio, more than 200 homes are planned, a mix of tiny homes, refurbished RVs, and small apartments arranged around shaded courtyards. There is a medical clinic right on the property because when you are 70, the distance to a doctor can decide everything. There is a chapel, a dining hall, a barber shop, and staff who help residents claim benefits many never knew they qualified for. Residents pay a small portion of their income, and the rest is covered by donors and partner organizations. Picture a retired waitress who spent 2 years sleeping in a Walmart parking lot, now watering tomato plants outside her own little home. That is what this village does, one person at a time. And if a 17-acre campus sounds ambitious, wait until you see what one California city built in a single year. Number 5. San Jose's Tiny Home Network. San Jose, California sits in the heart of Silicon Valley, surrounded by some of the richest companies on Earth, and yet thousands of its residents sleep outside. In one single year, the city did something almost no American city has ever pulled off. It opened nearly 1,240 new shelter spaces across 11 different sites. tiny home villages on Branham Lane and Cherry Avenue, safe parking lots where people living in vehicles can sleep without fear of a knock on the window, 5 old motels converted into shelters, a safe sleeping site on Taylor Street. One village was even built on land owned by the local water district because the mayor asked every government agency in the region a simple question: what land are you sitting on that could hold homes? That 1 year of construction nearly tripled the city's entire shelter capacity. And San Jose is not stopping there. The city has publicly committed to reaching what experts call functional zero, the point where more people exit homelessness every month than fall into it. No large American city has ever reached that point. San Jose is betting it can be the first, and it is pouring millions into operations to keep every site staffed and safe. The lesson from San Jose is blunt. The land was always there, and so was the money. San Jose simply decided to use them. And nowhere is that lesson more painful or more hopeful than our next project, on a piece of land that was promised to American heroes before the light bulb was in most homes. Number 4. The West Los Angeles VA campus. In 1888, a wealthy widow named Arcadia de Baker deeded 388 acres of Los Angeles land to the federal government for one purpose. It was to be a home for disabled American soldiers. Promises like that are supposed to last forever. For decades, thousands of veterans lived there. Then, over the years, the government leased pieces of that land to a private school, a university baseball stadium, and even oil drilling, while veterans slept on the sidewalk right outside the fence. Los Angeles became home to the largest population of homeless veterans in the United States, men and women who wore the uniform, sleeping in tents on a street people called Veterans Row. Then, a federal judge stepped in. In a landmark ruling, the court ordered the government to honor the original promise and build housing for homeless veterans on that land, and to build it fast. Today, the West LAVA campus is one of the largest veteran housing construction sites in American history. More than 1,200 permanent apartments are planned under the master plan, with historic buildings being renovated and brand new residences rising among the old eucalyptus trees. Veterans are already moving in, some after 10 or 20 years on the street, with medical care, counseling, and community right outside their doors. A promise made in 1888 is finally being kept in 2026. Before we count down the top 3, one quick thing. Some of you watching are close to the edge yourselves, stretching every dollar, or you love someone who is. We put together a guide called the Veterans Blueprint. It was written with veterans in mind, but the steps inside can help anyone facing hard times and anyone trying to help a friend or family member who is. Which programs to contact first? Which benefits go unclaimed by millions of people who qualify? What to do in what order when the money runs out? The link is in the description below this video. Now, the top 3. And number 3 solves the one problem every project so far has struggled with: time. Number 3. Icon's 3D printed homes in Texas. Everything on this list so far has one enemy in common, and that enemy is time. Building a house, the traditional way, takes months and a small army of workers. A company in Austin, Texas asked a strange question: what if we could print a house the way an office printer prints a page? Icon built a printer the size of a truck, a machine called Vulcan that rolls along a track and squeezes out layer after layer of concrete, drawing the walls of a home the way you would draw with a tube of toothpaste. The walls of a house can be printed in a matter of days. The very first 3D printed homes for homeless people in America were printed at a village in Austin, and residents say the thick, curved concrete walls stay cool in the Texas summer and quiet at night. Since then, Icon has printed an entire neighborhood of 100 homes north of Austin, proving the technology works at full scale. Concrete walls do not rot, do not burn easily, and shrug off storms. And because the printer never gets tired, the cost of each wall keeps falling as the technology improves. Imagine city lots across America where a printer arrives on Monday and a family has walls by Friday. That future is being tested in Texas right now. And the village where those first printed homes stand happens to be the most famous homeless community in America, and it is our number 2. Number 2, Community First Village in Austin. On 51 acres of land in eastern Travis County, Texas, there is a place that changed how America thinks about homelessness. Community First Village opened in 2015 as a neighborhood of tiny homes and RVs for people coming off the streets of Austin. It has porch swings, gardens, an outdoor movie theater, a blacksmith shop, a bed and breakfast where visitors stay, and hundreds of formerly homeless residents who pay modest rent and work jobs right inside the village. The founder built the whole thing on one belief: people coming off the street need neighbors just as much as they need a roof, because loneliness is often what put them there in the first place. In late 2025, the village celebrated its 10th anniversary, and it did not celebrate quietly. Community First is now in the middle of an expansion that will triple its original footprint, with more than 500 additional tiny homes going up across new land on Hogeye Road and a large property in South Austin. When the expansion is complete, the village will be home to well over 1,000 people, making it the largest community of its kind on the planet. Leaders from hundreds of American cities have walked its gravel lanes taking photographs and notes, and villages inspired by it are now rising in Missouri, Kansas, Minnesota, and beyond. Community First proved the model, but our number 1 project took a different model and scaled it across the biggest state in the country. Number 1. Project Homekey in California. The most ambitious project on our list did not start with a groundbreaking ceremony. It started with a question. California has thousands of aging motels and hotels sitting half-empty along its highways. Each one already has rooms, plumbing, electricity, and parking. What if the state simply bought them and turned the rooms into homes? That question became Project Homekey, and it grew into the largest homeless housing program in American history. The state has poured billions of dollars into buying old motels, hotels, and empty buildings in cities from San Diego to Sacramento, converting them into around 15,000 permanent and interim homes. 15,000. Sit with that number for a moment. Every other project on this list, added together, does not come close. A faded roadside motel that once rented rooms by the night becomes a building full of studio apartments with caseworkers downstairs. And it happens in months instead of years, at a fraction of the cost of new construction. Think about what that means for one person. A woman in her 60s who lost her apartment after her husband passed away checks into a converted Homekey building. Her room has a bed, a bathroom, a small kitchen, and a door that locks. Downstairs, there is a nurse 2 days a week and a counselor who helps her apply for the benefits she earned over 40 years of work. 6 months later, she is stable, healthy, and helping newer residents find their footing. Multiply that story by 15,000 rooms, and you begin to see the size of what California has built. The newest phase of the program directs billions more specifically toward homeless veterans and people who need mental health support, tying together everything we have talked about today. Other states are watching closely, and versions of the motel conversion model are already being tested in Oregon, Washington, and Colorado. Homekey is the proof at the largest scale that homelessness is not an unsolvable mystery. It is a housing shortage, and housing shortages can be built out of one motel, one village, one printed wall at a time. 10 projects, from 22 little homes in Kansas to 15,000 converted motel rooms in California. Different states, different budgets, and the same simple idea behind every one of them. A locked front door changes everything. These projects will not end homelessness overnight, and honest people can debate the best path. But for the first time in a generation, America is building solutions instead of just talking about them, and every one of these blueprints can be copied in your city too. So here is our question for you. Which of these projects would you most like to see built in your town? Tell us in the comments below, and if you know of a project near you that deserves attention, share it there too. If this video gave you a little hope today, the like button tells YouTube to show it to more people who need to see it. And subscribe, because next time we are covering the American towns that are rebuilding their entire main streets from scratch.